Welcome to PamoJah Roots. Welcome to PamoJah Roots. PamoJah Roots. PamoJah Roots. Conscious rhythm. Conscious rhythms. PamoJah Roots.
Greetings and salutations, Hong Kong and worldwide massive, and welcome to this podcast right here at Eton Hotel. This is Eton Radio, and Eton is right in between Yaumate and Jordan, 380 Nathan Road. And there's a food hall here, there's a buffet downstairs, and they got rooms for rent, they got summer staycations, packages, and there's a bar at the fourth floor called Terrible Baby where they have international and local DJs during the weekends. So, welcome to PamoJah Roots podcast. And PamoJah meaning together, and roots is where we all come from. And so, PamoJah Roots meaning that we all come from the same roots. Different trees, same forest, but we all come from the soil through the roots. And so, in my podcast series, I'm going to have people who have some connection and who have had a major impact in my life. And so today I have a very special guest, a man who I really respect, a guy who's really the coolest, one of the coolest guys I've met in Hong Kong. He's the founder of Triple X Gallery, like Triple X, like what I'm wearing today, in memorable memory. And Triple X was a legendary underground club that ran in Hong Kong from 2011 to 2018. And it was like one of the best places where people could go and hang out and feel free, no restrictions, like you need a dress code, you need like, they've got security who's going to throw you out, and anybody could come through and have fun. And so, and he actually, I did my hip surgery fundraising there, and this guy helped me a lot because he gave me the sales from the drinks and the door sales and everything. Like, we made more money, and it was generous of him to donate the rest of it, like to the charity organizations and stuff like that. He also helps organization, like by donating magazine issues, clothings, and even cash, and that's really good of him. He has 2 albums under his pseudonym, All Evolutions, right, at Triple X Records. And these are available on YouTube and Bandcamp, right? Do you have it on Spotify?
Everywhere.
Yeah, All
Music,
Evolutions,
all
with a Z at the end. And then he's the creator, or I could say he's the virtual DJ of the Nana AE, which is like a virtual DJ that he controls, of which is the first in Hong Kong. And that is really like cool, because we're going to maybe talk about that's going to happen in the future, because I guess that's where we're all heading, right? Digital. So my man, Enso, man, PamoJah, welcome so much to my show. I'm really glad you came through, and it's an honor to be here, to have you in my show and to see what you're doing, how you're doing, man. Welcome.
Rahyym, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to me for the invite, so thank you. I'm glad to listen to your podcast so far, and I'm really happy to join.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. You're my 3rd guest, so welcome, man. So, man, like, I just want to know, because many people have helped me in life, but I might like your IG stories, your Facebook stories, but I don't know your real story. Though you have told me, but not everyone knows your real story of what you've gone through. So if you could tell us briefly, like where you were born, where you, like how you were raised, the kind of music you listened to when as a kid. What was your dream as a kid? What did you think you're gonna be as you grew up?
Um, well, where to start? I can say the basics.
Yeah.
Grew up in San Francisco, California, USA. Born and raised there. Lived there until I was basically 21. Um, actually, yeah, around that time. Um, growing up, like as a kid, okay, musically, certainly like there's like hip hop and R&B was just all the music that you heard.
Yeah.
Certainly in my household when I was a kid, my parents had other kinds of music as well, like some like 80s like punk rock and all
Oh.
kinds of stuff that like my dad and my mom were into. But there's just always all these influences, and when you get to be a teenager,
Yeah.
and then you start to like find your own music. So I was really
Yeah.
into hip hop. I was really into trip hop artists like Portishead, Tricky,
Oh, okay.
Morchiba, Radiohead, that whole world. I was into that in addition to a lot of hip hop. And then yeah, I got into electronic music probably around 16, 17. I just came up on jungle drum and bass.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that vibe, and tried to learn how to DJ through some events, some like rave parties when I'm like 18. So that was like my initiation. That's what introduced me to that whole world.
Nice.
In terms of my dreams, I like as a little kid I had a dream to be a baseball player. Like, I wanted to be a baseball player. I don't know if kids still have those dreams these days, these generations
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to like maybe be like a producer or a DJ or like a gallery owner. But those were the kind of dreams I had when I was like 18.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you into like art?
Yeah. So when I went to school for art history.
Mm.
So like that's what I studied in university, and like it's interesting. I love conceptual art, and I love just kind of like. Wait, can we use bad words? Can we use curse words on here or no? Let me just check the policy.
Yeah, maybe we might
Maybe
keep it
not.
clean.
We keep it clean. Okay. I just like to mess with people. Like to mess with people. So when art can mess with people, I think that's interesting. If you have like a exhibition space and people come and you can
Yeah.
just surprise them and shock them and
Yeah.
mess with their brain, I think that's has an impact, and I think that's fun.
Nice. So this is in the 90s is when the hip hop, that's old school hip hop, right?
Mm.
So were you like buying cassettes or was CDs already in the
I
market?
definitely had cassettes. Yeah, so we're gonna see exactly how old I am right now. Yeah, so I was born in 1981, year of the chicken, year of the rooster.
Yeah.
So that means like I was a teenager in the 90s, and I graduated high school in like 99.
Mm.
Okay, so that means, it was like Death Row Records was huge at
Yeah.
that time for me, and just that was just like 100% pop music. That was
Yeah.
like the basic stuff. So at like a school dance or whatever, that's all we heard, with a smattering of local hip hop artists as well, because this is in San Francisco. But yeah, so that's just what was normal to me. Yeah.
Oh.
Jodeci,
Yeah.
some
Oh.
R&B like this kind of vein
R&B.
too. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Death Row Records because even in 91 or 92, something like that, like I got their cassette, The Chronic, and it's all cuss words. And so when I had this cassette and I put it on, I put it with my friends and we were listening to all these cuss words and we were like, oh my god, oh my god, these people can actually say this like live, and we were like so mesmerized. But that's also the time I started loving hip hop.
Right.
Yeah, so this was in high school.
Yep.
And when did you start DJing, like thinking like, okay, I'm gonna transition to become a DJ or a music producer?
Yeah, so around age 18, I started to like go to some rave parties and like electronic music stuff, and I
Mm.
started to like hang out at some record shops, and just saw this alternative culture that I had never really known before,
Mm.
and everyone just seemed so cool, right? So then I tried to learn how to DJ within that era, within that scene. got really into drum and bass. That was like what got me really going.
Yeah.
It's like the hip hop was just like bass line. That's just like what was in the background all the time. But
this,
then I
this
get
was in San Francisco,
yeah,
right?
so-
okay,
yeah,
okay.
and so that's kind of how it was for me. It's like the hip hop R&B was just pop music that was just
Yeah.
always in the background. But
Yeah.
then I would always have like different subgenres that I'd be interested in and I would pursue, and that's kind of been the case all the way up until recently. Like I get
Mm.
into different little subgenres. I jump from trend to trend. You could say.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting. But yeah, so drum and bass has stuck with me the whole time. Like
Oh.
I'm big with that. And I guess like a year, I was probably like 20, 21.
Yeah.
I started to actually like DJ like house parties with
Oh.
with Yao. if anyone knows
James.
Yao,
Yeah.
if anyone out there knows Yowzers Yao,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
James Yao,
Big up, big up.
big up, yeah,
It's because of him we're also here. So
yeah, exactly,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
big man. So yeah, he and I used to do parties back then, like DJ like
Nice.
golden era hip hop and like dance hall
Yeah.
music, yeah.
So, like, what equipment did you learn DJing on? Was it turntables, CDJs? What
Def-
came first?
Definitely vinyl.
Vinyl. Oh, so you
Vinyl.
bought your own vinyl?
I have a lot of vinyl. I
Yeah,
have spent
yeah,
a lot of
same.
money on vinyl, and during those days when we were doing like playing dancehall music, it would also be a lot of 7 inches.
Yeah.
Usually reissues. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
7 inches. Yeah, I learned vinyl only, and it's difficult. It wasn't until many years later
Yeah.
that like Serato came about and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and it was like a brand new world change for me because I never even touched CDJs. So it was
I
a
know,
big
yeah.
shift for me to move from vinyl to Serato, and more recently record box and USB. So I think
Yeah.
that the migration is complete now after 12 years from vinyl to the present.
Yeah, to use USB and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's really cool. So do you have any idol DJs that you looked up to? We're like, oh, I like this DJ, and that's what made you enter the DJ dome, the industry?
It's a good question. I mean, I was really impressed, and like I think my like whole taste was shifted once I heard DJ Shadow. DJ
Yeah.
Shadow introducing and Preemptive Strike EP back in like I don't know 98, 99,
Yeah.
way back in the day we're talking about right now. But yeah, that was influential for me, no doubt. Now, of course, there's a lot of DJs from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And Japanese DJs too. DJ Crush.
Mhm.
That was really cool to me just in terms of this like kind of like laid back, like deep kind of instrumental hip hop kind of stuff. And then things got a little bit more club at a certain point. Maybe just in terms of what I was getting into, but like started to hear like the projects Diplo was doing.
Mhm.
What was his club? He had a club in Philadelphia, like a party. Oh, it was Diplo and some other DJ. What was their thing before Diplo blew up? Actually, before his first album, even. I can't think of it right now. I can look it up.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah. So I got really into Diplo and just this whole genre of like bringing more like up tempo,
Mm-hmm.
multi-genre, and then Diplo continued that game to like bring like different pieces from like cultures all over the world, different like
Nice.
musical cultures, and people hate on some parts of that, but to me it was like mostly a really positive thing because it kept the dialogue moving. New stuff got to be pop music. As he got more and more famous, he could bring all kinds of different genres and influences from various parts of the world into like American, European, international pop music. Started to get elements from
Nice.
all over. So I think that was special.
Wow. Wow. So, like, were you like a rebellious teenager when you were a teenager? Were you like this rebel who sneaked from home during high school, or?
No, like I had great parents. I wasn't rebellious. I was a little bit willful. Like I didn't like anyone to tell me what to do. But like I was lucky because like my parents like realized that like if I could do well in school, if I could like be on top of my stuff, then they could
Yeah.
give me some freedom.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I'm really only mad about one thing because they didn't let me go to this one Portishead concert when I was 15. It was the same week that I was going to a Radiohead concert, so I had to choose one or the other, and I'm like, damn, those are some classic ones. But no, No, I was not a rebellious kid. No, I think my parents were probably more rebellious than I was.
Oh.
When they were teenagers, they were the rebellious ones.
So you like saw them and then you were like,
It goes in cycles, right?
Yeah.
They. I've heard it said that we resemble our grandparents,
mm,
and if you have children, they'll resemble their grandparents.
yeah.
I don't know. That it's not always true, probably, but a little bit sometimes.
Nice.
Hmm.
So, how did music shape your life? Like, did you feel like I'm gonna go the musical route when you finished high school and be like, I'm just gonna be this guy, or did you have other plans? Because I know you did have a day job and
Yeah.
and you went and studied different stuff. So, was just music like on the side, or did you at one point think like, okay, this is going to be for me?
Of course, music's always been important to me, and I feel like it's central. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's this important, central thing. Um, DJing is about listening to music as much as it is
Mm.
anything else. And producing music is just like it's just the most fun thing in the world. It's like
Mm.
it's difficult, it's hard, but it's like this endless, nonstop journey. You
Yeah.
know, you just can never finish. So that's kind of interesting to me, and you just kind of just keep pushing, keep pushing. Maybe all artistic creation is like that. I don't know, but music's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But I guess what was kind of like attract me in a more even deeper sense was bringing people together.
Okay.
So that's why like I gravitated towards doing events or like eventually having a space
Yeah.
because yeah, of course you can make music and hopefully people listen and care, but it's also I don't know, I have this weird thing like I guess I'm a social person.
Okay. Cool.
And I just kind of like to connect different kinds of people together.
Mm.
I don't know that I'm very good at many things, but that I think is one thing I feel like I'm good at is to like bring different groups of people together.
Yeah.
And if that's all I can do to help, then that's what my job should be.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So, when what came first? Like the record label? You had a record label called Solos Records.
Oh yeah.
Did you have anything done under that label
Yep.
back in the US?
Yep. So this is going back, and this was a different time, right?
Mm.
This is so different than now. But yeah, we had a record label called Solos Records
Yeah.
in San Francisco, in California, and we ran for a few years. We put out some vinyls, we put out some CDs, and it was a certain era, certain genres of music that was like, I guess you could say, it was hip hop. Some of it was instrumental hip hop. Some of it was a little bit abstract. Some of it had vocals, some of it didn't. And some of the artists that I know now that like I know personally, we put out a lot of their music at that time. But once I came to Hong Kong later,
Yeah.
um, I think the project shifted a little bit.
Okay.
So the co-founder of Solos Records kind of ran with it for a bit.
Okay.
His name is Roche, and he's actually in Oregon right now. He's in Portland. He's also he's a producer. He's putting out cool stuff, a little bit houseier these days.
Okay.
But I think it's cool. But yeah, I think that as we move forward, as I came to Hong Kong, I got more into actually playing more club nights in
Mm.
Hong Kong.
Mm,
So
mm, mm.
I guess my taste shifted a little bit, and I got more into DJing, less into production. So I had a
Ah.
real DJ run for like a few years,
Yeah.
not producing, and then I went back to production later. Because
Mm.
back in the day, mind you, when I was in San Francisco with Solos Records, I have a really old piece of equipment. It's
Mm.
like a different genre. It's a different era, man. You
Yeah.
know about the MPC.
Yes, I know the MPC.
So I had the MPC 2000.
Whoa, that is.
Okay, not the 2000 XL, the 2000. And then later on, I had the 1000. So I was messing with these, trying to make beats with these, and like sometimes the tools you have, they can have an influence on the art that you make.
Yeah.
Because I mean, of course, you can make anything special with any kind of equipment. You don't need like expensive equipment to make something hot.
Yeah.
But still, the design choices of the equipment can still have an impact on what you create.
Yeah.
And I feel like working on an MPC those days, it pushed me in certain directions, and it was actually quite freeing to get out of that and just DJ and just just experience so much, digest so much music,
Yeah.
and digest so much social interaction too.
Yeah.
Because when you're DJing in front of like good crowds, all kinds of genres and feeling all these feelings with people, you learn, and I think that that has really influenced like how I think about music and how I approach production later on too. So I didn't get back into music production for some years later.
Yeah, I remember when Triple X came on, you were mostly doing the Triple X stuff and less production.
Oh yeah,
Though you had the equipment, but
I
yeah,
took some
less.
time.
I
Yeah, I
remember.
didn't do any production for some like I don't know 5-10 years. Yeah.
So you came to Hong Kong in your 20s,
Yeah. I was 25.
25,
Yeah.
and you came as a DJ, or you came to visit,
Oh
or
well, I got I have a day job as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So it was through that I came to Hong Kong, and I didn't know I'd stay so long. I mean, I figured I'd stay at least a couple years, right? Like
yeah,
ended up what's it been 16 years? Yeah, it's been
Nice.
over 16 years.
wow,
So it's less interesting why I came. It's more interesting why I stayed.
exactly. So
Yeah.
so you came, and now you're in Hong Kong. What made you feel like, okay, wow, I wanna stay here, because it's so different from San Francisco? Like everything, the music, the food. There was no hip hop when you came. Like I guess it wasn't huge. Even reggae, dancehall was still like hush hush.
Well, what I think about Hong Kong, I thought it was great. Like, I thought it was
Mm.
exciting. Like, I thought there's so much energy, and like, I just love like urban
Mm.
cities. Like,
Yeah.
I've always been like that. Even now, but especially then.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like the energy, the excitement that things don't close, and like just like so much to learn,
Mm.
like crazy language to learn. Like all this is great. Like, opaque culture that becomes less opaque every day and it makes more sense every day, a little bit more sense. That's
Mm.
great. Like that's really exciting. That's why I like to be in a new place. And Hong Kong has got a really vibrant culture. Um,
I know you also like Japan. How
Sure.
can you compare Hong Kong and Japan? Because you like, I see you've traveled there several times. I guess
Mhm.
you've already DJed there before, right?
yeah.
So how can you compare Hong Kong and Japan in your own sense? Like, which one do you feel is more livable and?
Well, I've never lived in Japan.
Mm.
That sounds fun. It sounds like it'd be fun, but I've always felt more cultural distance from Japan. Like
Okay.
it's a little bit harder to understand. I'm fascinated by it.
Mm, mm,
Um, fascinated by a lot of parts of Japan. I love the aesthetics, like just the
Yeah.
design aspects and like the cities, and like I love so much like media and culture that comes out of Japan. I love the food. I love the peace in the city, the quiet in the city, how things are planned. I love that they're so environmentally conscious there. All of these things I love about Japan, but I don't feel like I've never lived there,
Mm.
and like I feel comfortable in Hong Kong. I do feel comfortable here after 16 years. So, I do. I don't know. It's a special place. In terms of like when I first came to Hong Kong, though,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was some underground stuff going on. Like there was some good music. There's
Okay.
some stuff going on. Like of course, it's changed a lot since then,
Mm.
and I'm sure you probably want to talk about that. I assume.
Yeah.
But like in the early days, okay, so of course there was like Li-Fi, Heavy Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Way back when, all the way back then, and that's why he got like all of our respect because he's a
Yeah.
fucking he's a forefather. He is a forefather.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
He's a G. He's a Don.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
At that time, there was also a club called Yamla.
Yamla. Yeah, heard of it.
Yeah, so Yamla, it's actually currently it's where Oma is.
Ah, the same space.
place. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay,
Oma
okay.
before that was called Midnight and Co.
I
And
remember.
before Midnight and Co. was
Was
Yamla.
Yamla.
And
Ah.
Yamla was, actually they're holding it down for a lot of nice drum and bass nights and
Yeah.
a few different kind of alternative electronic genres.
Mm.
Yeah, so there were things going on, of course, and there was hidden agenda around that time too.
I do remember that.
So there was stuff going on, but it was less obvious to find it, and there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And if I was doing parties, they were smaller because the market, they was just everything was smaller. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember. So I remember Midnight and Co. They did hip hop nights where there was Eli Dolo.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Nick Cage came. I used to go there because there was like some freestyle nights and people used to go there for some hip hop and stuff like that. So then later on it became Oma.
Right.
So how did you, like, what made you look at the scene and be like, okay, there's a few guys doing this underground thing. I think I'm wanna do my thing. And how did you come up with the name XXX? Because as people, once they see this name, they have a different idea of what it means.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll take that backwards. So the
Okay.
name, it was like there's a couple of reasons why that name came to me and why
Yeah.
it stuck with me. And one was that, well, it's easy to remember. It's like everyone, you feel something.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah.
ew or huh or interest or like
Yeah.
scared or something. You feel something.
Yeah.
I also like that it's like a sign. It's like a symbol as much as it's a word.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't stand for something. I'll get all nerdy and esoteric talking about x's as variables, and I'm not trying to do it Elon Musk right now, but yeah, like, how did I get into all of it? I was DJing. I started DJing in Hong Kong. Phi was the first one who actually asked me to DJ or invited me to DJ one of his parties, one of his underground parties.
Big up, big up.
Big up, yeah, exactly. Like, original, like, support. Appreciate it. First time I played in Hong Kong. And then just went on from there, playing the underground events. But then I started playing some more, like, commercial-ish events. So, hooked up with DJ Kid Fresh. And we started, I like met him in Shanghai actually, and then he was moving to Hong Kong, and I was just so impressed with with his set, and like we had some mutual friends. Somehow that worked out, and he came to Hong Kong, and then we connected up, and we got to be really close friends, and we threw monthly parties for years. You know, we DJ'd all over. I learned a lot from him because he's like a really successful DJ from Germany, and like international profile and all this. So like I learned so much, and we went and played in many different cities all over mostly Asia, but also in the US and Europe. So that was awesome. I'm actually going to see him play in Tokyo on August 31st. He's playing at Enter Shibuya in Tokyo.
And
August
he's
31.
Dre Dog.
Dre Dog, yeah.
Big up.
Yeah, that's his Instagram, Dre Dog. Yes, I'll be there for that just to like support him because I haven't seen him DJ in a while. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So we did events and parties, and like I felt like we were kind of like doing something a little bit new in Hong Kong, something that wasn't being done. And we brought in a lot of international artists, and that was cool. We started doing stuff with Bolar, and they had some budget and gave us a lot of freedom to bring in some great artists. So that was incredible. And eventually, at a certain point in time, I realized, okay, there's something missing in Hong Kong, and that's a kind of venue, a certain kind of venue, because, you know, me and a lot of people around me had been throwing events.
Yeah.
And you have this, like, question, like, am I going to do it at a commercial place, like at a venue, like a bar, at a club? Or am I going to try to do some, like, underground DIY thing? Hall speaker somewhere, risk getting shut down, risk, like, everything, risk rain. You know, all kinds of problems. And I just felt like, wow, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to create a venue. And actually, my friend Patricia Choi, she actually like is the one who originally put the idea in my head about opening a venue. I think because she had like a building, so she was like always like gave me this idea. Why don't you like have a space and do something with it? And then that triggered the idea in my head because I'd always wanted to have some kind of like showroom, some kind of canvas to do something cool, like creative, and show to the audience. But better than a showroom or like a visual canvas is to like actually a 3D space or 4D, because like you actually have people. The art is their experience. The art is the connections and the social network
Yeah.
effect and things bouncing off of each other and having some emergent meaning or some emergent experience
Nice.
that I could not create. You know, I could not plan, but you
Yeah.
create the conditions, and then you have the people come, and you put like the right variables in place, and something will happen. So that's why I like having events and having a space.
Nice. So your first place was in Shuangwan.
Yeah.
That was the first time I came there, and you were doing this. Was it like it was like a monthly thing called Future Dancehall?
Yep. We did a future dancehall party. Yeah. So 2011 through end of 12, we were in Shangwan, in
Yeah.
the basement there in Shangwan. Winglok Sai guy.
Yeah.
And that building's been just like torn down now. It's been
Oh.
like completely
Yeah.
torn down.
I passed
New
there.
building
yeah.
is there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really cool couple of years. That was great. I remember when I met you.
Yeah.
I remember, and I tell the story sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you remember like that night? I'm pretty sure it was the first night I met you.
Yeah.
So like I forget what iPhone was new right
Oh
then.
yeah.
It's like probably like iPhone 6 or something.
something
Something really, really old to us now, but at
Yeah.
the time it was so hot in Hong Kong. It was so
Yeah.
limited. Like no one can get this phone.
True.
You even have like whatever CSL Yatling. You have Smart Tone. You have CMHK. It doesn't matter. You have to be on some special list. Like
to get
maybe
it.
you have like a job and they have some corporate account and then they get you like a preview. You can get the phone.
Yeah.
And then you have to go pick it up secretively in Sinda. This was my experience, and I went through all the steps, and I got it. I was like, I got the iPhone 6. There's no cases available yet, so I'm like holding it, and it feels so cool on MTR or on the bus in Hong Kong. Mind you, in Hong Kong, you don't usually get robbed
Yeah,
for things
yeah,
like
yeah.
this. You don't
It's safe.
normally.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty safe compared to most places. If it was the same
True.
situation in U.S., I'd be like, I'd be an idiot for like showing off my brand new phone. But in Hong Kong, I was like shining. And then I came to the party that night, and I had gotten that phone like in the past day or two, and I lost it by the end of the night. Completely lost my like really special limited new iPhone, and you found it.
Yeah. Actually, okay. What happened was this. I was DJing. You were DJing. I think it was a future dancehall thing.
Yeah.
And so after I finished DJing and everything, I was just at the DJ booth, and then this guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, DJ, what's up? Someone dropped this." And
Also,
he-
someone else.
yeah, gave it to
found
me, and I saw, man, this is a new iPhone. It's so new. Everything. I look behind, my hands were shaking. Like, you know, I'm an African. I'm from Africa. My hands are shaking. Like, hey, I might be. Anyone can say I stole it from them. So I have to be careful. So I put it there and I waited, and then I waited for you, and then you came over. So when you came over, I was like, hey, Enzo. One of the customers came and gave me an iPhone. I don't want to stay with it. I think maybe you could post and maybe the owner can come. Because at that time, they had just started Track Me or something.
Find my
Fi-
phone.
yeah.
Find my phone. Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, I'm going to keep it. And if no one claims it, maybe you can have it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was happy. I was kind of like in my heart hoping no one would claim it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Like, we tried.
let's try. And then it's like, okay. And then you started looking for your own phone. Like, where's my phone? Have you seen my phone? And then you took it and then you switched it on and look, hey, this is my phone. And you put your code in like, it's my phone.
Man. Oh man. Yeah, that I remember now.
And then the second time, someone took your phone and went to Chimcha Chui. And then we were leaving the club and you're like, let me call this guy. And then you called the guy because you could trace him and got his number somehow. And you called him through my phone. You're like, hey, I know where you are. I'm coming for my phone. And you took a taxi and you went to Chimchachui and you got back your phone.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, well, the way you described that story, it sounds like I was like a tough guy or something. I know where
Yeah.
you are. I'm coming for you right now. You're gonna give me your phone.
Yeah,
Give me
you have
my
my
phone
phone.
back. No, it wasn't even like that. It was more just like, oh my God, do you have my phone? Oh please, oh thank you so much.
I'm coming for
Where do
it.
you want me to go? I'll be there right now. I'll get there right away. Thanks, man.
Okay, I don't remember it that way. I'm like,
I like that. You make me sound tough, tough guy.
wow. So Triple X, like, this was a BYOB place.
Yeah.
You got like so many challenges, like by getting like drinks licenses and stuff like that. Like, was this the only thing that was challenging, or did you have like outside forces that came and were not happy with you being in an
Uh,
underground space?
well, I mean, yeah, I mean it was tough to get a license, and like you have to like, mm, have to like, especially in Hong Kong, but it probably gets everywhere. But especially in Hong Kong, you have to coexist.
Mm.
You have to coexist with all those around you,
Yeah.
and that means, you know, coexisting with the building management,
Yeah.
coexisting with your neighbors, coexisting with you know, I guess competition you could say, but just coexisting with the environment, with the um, society around you. And some of them didn't want us there, for
Yeah,
sure.
I remember.
And you know, oftentimes they'll try to like push you out as soon as possible, and then it's a strategy thing. It's a game in Hong Kong. Like, you know, if they don't want you there, they'll try to push you out.
Yeah.
If you stick it out long enough, then a lot of people will then realize, okay, I guess they're gonna be here.
Mm.
I guess we have to kind of deal with it and coexist.
Mm.
But the first reaction for some people is like, I don't want them here. Let's just try to push them out immediately. But so that meant we had to like, you know, try to be respectful.
Yeah.
You know, the police came by a lot. That sucked.
I
Not
remember.
the biggest fan, you know, but but instead of like trying to like be rude, try to be polite, because at the end of the day, it's all relationships and it's all
Yeah.
individual people. And
Yeah.
if you give an individual person reason to like feel attacked or feel belittled or whatever, then they're gonna come for you. So tried as best we could to show people respect and dignity, and we were able to last as long as we did because of that. But it sure was a pain. Of course, you know, it's a pain. Like it's hard to survive because like the authorities didn't really care about us being there, you know. And sometimes it's our own guests who are like not helping, you know, because it's like I have a plan. It's like we can do this well, but it just means you guys got to be quiet on the street. Like we can do anything we want, just don't be crazy on the street because that's our risk. Then
Yeah.
people care about us and they're gonna be bothered and they're gonna try to shut us down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It got frustrating at times to deal with so many like dealing with drunk people sucks. I don't like drunk people, man. I don't drink that much.
Yeah.
But it's not that I never drink. It's just like I don't know. But yeah, it was not the easiest thing to do, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah. So when you finally closed down, like, did like, because I remember it was 2018, around March or February, something like that.
Oh yeah, we used January.
It was January,
Yeah.
and you were having the last event, and people were coming through and everything. Like, closing down, did it like have did it affect your life in some way that you felt, you know, people have left and there was no like every weekend or
Oh,
this-
you mean on a personal level?
yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, it's a big change. Like I kind of needed a break on a personal level. It's funny, like I needed to hide for a little bit, and it's funny because there's this guy, Akong, he plays the violin. He's a cool dude in Hong Kong and does
Yeah.
a lot of cool creative stuff. He was working with West Kowloon Cultural District before, maybe he still is. And like he caught me one day at like Sonar Festival, and he was like, "Enso, hey, you can't hide. You can't hide. Stop hiding." And I was like, "Oh, he caught me. He totally caught me. I need to hide a little bit. Give me like a year or two to hide." Because it was just exhausting, you know, like so much going on and just like it's stressful, like financial ups and downs. Every month is different. Like lose a lot of money. I didn't have any investors. It was just me trying to make it work, you know, take out some loans and like open this nightclub and try to make the money back. And if you lose money, at least try to pay for it yourself out of your day job paycheck.
Mm.
You know, it's like tough.
Yeah.
So, and also it's just like, yeah, I just needed a break. You get overloaded dealing with so many like people doing events, and some of them are respectful and cool.
Yeah.
Some of them are just obnoxious and immature.
Mm.
Same applies to the guests. So
Yeah.
you know, it gets a little bit. You get a little bit jaded a little bit sometimes. You get a little bit like negative, and I didn't feel like that's the best way to be. So I just needed. I didn't want to burn out, so I wanted to take a break.
Mm.
And after 7 years, I felt like, okay, maybe this is the time. I
Mm.
still hope that someone else can like do the same kind of stuff. You know, we were
Mm.
never competitive. Always want other people
Yeah.
to like take the mantle, do similar in their own way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like hand over. Like someone else start doing some stuff. You know, and I think overall in the past years, people have been doing a lot more. I
Mm.
think like the scene's so much more diverse and wider and deeper than it was when I first arrived. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It continues to grow, and there's always new generations of people getting involved.
Mm.
It's great. Like I go and I see like it's interesting right now in Hong Kong when I see some genres that are like becoming popular again.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
some of these subgenres that like I and a lot of some people that I would have run with like were DJing or into back in 2012, 2014.
Mm.
Now are like hot in Hong Kong for like 20-year-olds, like 18, 19, 20-year-olds, in Hong Kong learning to DJ, and they're playing like Jersey Club. Or for that matter, drum and bass is like super popular for like young kids in Hong Kong. And like it's awesome to me, but it's also like surprising because it's like, and footwork has like
Yeah.
made like a comeback in Hong Kong, or it never really even got big in Hong Kong until right now. So interesting, so for some of those DJs back in the day who were playing like Night Slugs and stuff like that, like Dom Shelf Index, for example.
yeah, yeah,
It's so
Dom
funny that
too,
like
yeah.
the stuff that like he and me and a lot of other people were playing way back then is now like kind of like feel like it's the normal thing for like 19-year-olds to be into right now in Hong Kong. It's like at least the cool ones. That's interesting to me how these things happen, and I think that is great. Like I think part of it's the internet, and just
Yeah.
kids these days grow up with access to more, and hopefully they
Yeah.
get all the inputs from our experiences, and it just becomes exponentially more and more and more, and like we get I'm not sure, maybe we get smarter as a
Mhm.
society, as a people, as a species. I don't think we get wiser necessarily, but I think we get smarter.
So I feel what you're saying, because I feel there's also the emergence, like there's DJ Obia Mix now. He's putting up like soccer events.
Yep.
And before, Caribbean music wasn't that popular, though we try. When I was doing the Afro City, I would bring
Yeah.
DJ Noel to play some Caribbean music.
Oh yeah.
And then DJ Ado would play some Afro beats. We also play Afro beats, and I remember one of the
Ado.
best parties was the Afro City, where it was really cool, man. And
I love those events, man.
yeah, so now transitioning, and then you've closed the club, and then the pandemic came through. Was this now the time that you started now producing, like
Yeah.
slowing down and getting into more production? And
That's exactly right. So I meant to take a year or two off. I did, but then the pandemic hit.
yeah,
It's like, oh, okay, so now this is going to continue this break.
yeah.
But
yeah.
I did feel a lot of like energy, and I was in, I was at home more than before.
Yeah.
And it was also a little stressful in a certain way.
Mm.
It's like this low key background noise of stress because
Mm.
it's like, I wasn't panicking. I'm a very logical, rational person, I think, but there's still, this is all kind of unknown. There's a little bit weird situation permeating the whole world. You worry about your parents, you can't see them.
Yeah.
You don't want like to think about like, if someone did like have to like go through like sickness or like more alone. So it was just like this, all these things going on that kind of like overlaid on society, on our culture. And of course in Hong Kong, that was right after 2019 protests and situation there.
Yeah.
So I could just say it was a really emotional time. and it was a weird time. And it was a perfect time for me then to just go start making music again. So I went really deep back into um, finishing an album that I had started years ago, and then starting this new project. So that album before was under the name Enso,
Yeah.
and then I did another side EP on that for that album too. So there's Enso Palimpsest, and then I did a little side EP called Enso Tens, 10Z, because that was with MC Tens, who is someone I knew from back in the day, from Solos Records days back in San Francisco, Bay Area, California, and he had just passed.
Oh.
He had just suddenly passed away, and that was really rough. So then I figured, oh my God. I mean, I went to his memorial, went to California and spent time with people and tried to like make sense of that. But when I came back, I realized, oh, I need to like go find all the old recordings of his, because he's a dope rapper, and try to put them out somehow. Just do it as best I could. So that was that project. And then, yeah, it went all in 2020. So those were both in 2020, and then I actually went through and made another whole project that year too. All Evolutions, as you mentioned before.
Yeah,
I
nice.
started that project and put the first album out in 2020.
And then as it was going on, this is when you created the first virtual DJ. Could you tell us more about how you came about the idea and what it is actually, because you were saying it's not AI.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not, it's not AI.
I mean, I use AI, but it's the project itself I can't say is AI. Okay, so I started to make this album. I had this new kind of project I wanted to make, All Evolutions, and the idea was it was going to be like, it has like the singer's a girl.
Yeah.
I'd never written lyrics before.
Yeah.
I'd never made this kind of genre before, like kind of like ballads, instrumental. I'd always been making more like beats-driven stuff, but this was something I wanted to make that was more like a soundtrack. It was meant to be like an anime soundtrack genre, like for a fictional story. Like animes are usually like made out of mangas, like manga, like comics, and then like people make a soundtrack for then the anime, and I wanted to like do that for a fictional anime, for a fictional manga. And as time went on, I realized that like actually I wanted to make the story. I wanted to actually write the story as well.
Okay.
So I was making these songs and they were sung in Japanese. Like I wrote the lyrics and then I had them translated into Japanese. And then the singer would sing them in Japanese, female singer.
Yeah.
So then I had this like whole like create like a story, like a little like image, kind of like Gorillas, if you know the old project Gorillas, where they had like virtual artists that like didn't exist, but they like had like a backstory.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like had that in mind, and then as I was DJing, I did some events, and like I told you before that like I always jump from genre to genre. I always want to try new things, and whenever I'm like into right then, I want to bring those into my DJ set. I don't want to just play the same stuff that people expect. It's really hard for me to just stick with one genre in a 1 hour DJ set. Sometimes I should do that more. Like probably I get too ambitious sometimes, but that's just what excites me. And I started to play stuff that was like J-pop and like all these Japanese songs. And I realized at a certain point that maybe it's better to create a different persona who would be playing this stuff. Like it's so different than what people expect me to play.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just create a new personality, a new character who plays that. And I thought, oh snap, I already have this character who's like the fake singer in my band, in my virtual band. So, because I'm doing all this stuff on Ableton, you know, but I make it look like it's a band. So why don't I just like build that out and have her be a DJ now? She's like a celebrity, you know. Nowadays, if you're like a singer in a band, maybe you're a DJ also, and maybe you are like have your own Instagram, social media account, and you have so much follower, and you want to like do all this stuff. So I thought, oh, that's a great idea. Why not? That sounds so fun. So I just create this character. I just build her out and figured out how to do that to make like 3D animation.
Yeah.
So I taught myself all that, and it's kind of like, and I realized that there's this whole world of VTubers,
Mm.
like virtual vloggers, like virtual YouTubers,
Wow.
and they have like, like a avatar. They don't
Mm.
even show their own face. They have the whole character that they create.
Yes.
Oftentimes they're just doing like 2D, but I thought, wow, what if I did it in a more deeper way that's not just about being silly and superficial, but it actually has some deeper meaning. That sounds like fun. So that's what it is. So All Evolutions was the original band, but then I started to have like Nana, who's like the virtual singer,
Yeah.
create her own personality, her own social media presence, interact with people, DJ, like do DJ sets.
Yep. I've
Yeah.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, and two of these little virtual pop-ups in different locations. So she
Yeah.
has a travel log, like she goes to different cities all over the world and like does stuff in these different cities. It all goes up on her Instagram.
Yeah.
That Instagram is All Evolutions with a Z.
With the Z at the end.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun, I got to say.
So when Nana is going, let's say the persona you created, when they are traveling, when she is traveling, it is you who's traveling and documenting, or is this just done in the virtual world, like you just?
Both.
Ah.
Both. So when I'm in other cities, yeah, I do try to like do stuff there.
Okay.
But it's important that it's not me. It's not about me, because like maybe I go somewhere. Because like the thing is, like I was in the U.S. and then she's there now still.
Mm.
I went to Taiwan after,
Mm.
and I was hoping that she would come, but no, she's having too much fun in Los Angeles.
Oh.
So sometimes I check in with her.
Wait,
send
wait,
some
wait.
messages.
You check in with your virtual persona.
Yeah. And ask how she's doing. Like, haven't heard from you in a while. You didn't post for a while.
And you go back and forth
Uh-huh.
messages.
Yeah. And then she sends some photos back. Like, oh, yeah, I'm having so much fun here. Make so much friends in Los Angeles.
And who's doing that? That's the AI. Oh.
It's all me.
But you got me for you know. I was like, okay. So what do you think is gonna be the future for DJing? Because we've seen even the AI in DJ expos. They've seen the AI like trying to DJ, like the robot trying to scratch chuku chuku chuku, but it doesn't really work out. But what do you think is gonna be the future for music production, and especially now that the people are using the AI to create hip hop?
Yeah.
I just saw recently like they put a blues singer singing F the Police, but in a blues way. Straight out of Compton. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I think that there's been like virtual artists has become a newer thing, as
Yeah.
in like, like a hologram character.
Yeah.
Like there's a character called Choyam in Chinese, Choyam, but in Japanese it's Miku Hatsune,
Okay.
Hatsune Miku.
Okay.
So she's like a virtual character, like
Uh-huh.
a cartoon, you can say.
Yeah.
But then it's like a Vocaloid, a voice, and then people make music as her, and then she releases music. So
Mm.
that's virtual. AI means it actually has its own like individual intelligence. It's
Mm.
like it will answer questions. It's like Siri.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if we want to go and say AI, okay, I think your question is about the long term. What's the future?
Yeah.
What's that weird stuff? To me, I think there will be more and more content online created by AI.
Mm.
And we have to think about, do we care? Do we care if it's created by AI, or do we care that it's created by human? I don't know if I care, but maybe in some situations I care.
Mm.
So we want to maybe think about how we have approached that as a society,
Mm.
what we personally view, what are our own views about it. Because if you get music that was produced by a person like you or me,
Yeah.
is that more special than something that was produced by an algorithm?
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me, my initial reaction would be whatever sounds best.
Mm.
I don't know, right? It's tough.
Yeah.
And even if you know what you value, it can be. I think it's going to become much more hard in the future to even know
The difference.
what is real, quote unquote real, and what is like, AI generated. And maybe that's just as real. So I think that there's going to be a lot of like a big market for ways to prove that something is human, to prove that something is like not deep fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep talk.
Deep talk with Rahyym and Enso.
Yeah, man. Bro, man, I think our time is up. I don't know what is the time. Yeah, we've been here for an hour, and I still wanna, invite you again for part 2.
Okay.
Talk more about, a few things we'll discuss.
Well, I'm really happy to join you on this,
Man.
Rahyym. I appreciate it. And
PamoJah,
keep doing what you're doing, PamoJah.
thank you so
Roots.
much. And man, thank you so much because, it's because of Triple X, the events you put me on that made me learn more about DJing and the club. And you are the only guy that was a club owner who I would see at 6 a.m. picking cans to put them in the trash, cleaning out the ashtrays, making sure the club is clean for the next event. And that time I'm going home and I'm like, I can't let this guy alone. So we would clean up,
Yeah, you helped
clean
a
up,
lot.
clean up, and I love doing it. And then
I didn't love doing it. Go
I,
on.
I like doing it. I
Uh-huh.
like because for me it was like wow, it's like a club atmosphere. I'm still part of the club.
Yeah.
So it was okay, but I understand dealing with people who are like drunk and stuff like that is not really easy. I've been that route, and I know I was difficult when I was drinking, and I had to quit drinking. And you put me on like almost every not hip hop, reggae event, dancehall event, African event. We did stuff, and
Well, you're a cool DJ,
Thank
and
man.
more than
Thanks so
anything,
much.
like you've like one of the most solid dudes I know.
yeah, man,
Like,
I
real
really
talk?
appreciate. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it, man.
Like
Man.
my family loves you. My
I-
mom is always asking about you.
Yeah, man. I hope she's doing
She's
well.
doing much better. She is no more cane.
That's
She's
awesome.
3.5 months in.
Ah, man.
No more cane now.
Big up, big up, big
Yeah.
up, big up, big up, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So maybe next time she comes, who knows? I could have a talk with her about her journey
Yes.
because I know what she's gone through. I also went through, so
Sure.
it's
She
all
wants
good.
to do Dance Revolution.
Ah,
Nintendo
oh.
Switch games. with,
Yeah.
Dancing and
Yeah,
let's
man.
dance.
Until
Anyway,
part 2.
appreciate it.
PamoJah.
PamoJah.
Yeah, man.